Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Good morning, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Ivan Magwene.
And me, Peace Kwizera, coming up on Rise and Shine.
Now, story of the day, we bring you the updates on the situation in South Sudan.
And in sports, we look at Rwandan athletes in Rio Olympics.
It's Motivation Monday again, and we bring you a few tips on staying healthy. Well, all that and more still to come, but first we get to meet the rest of the team. Good morning, Stephen, and good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Ivan.
Yeah, good morning, Peace.
Good morning, Ivan.
You're ready for Monday?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope you had a very great weekend. It has been a weekend of Olympics there,
Yeah,
Mr. Stephen.
Olympics and some soccer. Yeah, but Olympics really takes it because,
Yeah.
we had contestants in athletics, in cycling and swimming.
Yeah.
It was really busy.
Absolutely. We'll be bringing you all the stories making headlines here in Rwanda and across the world shortly. Now, Rwanda Development Board inaugurated 12 classrooms at Gatebe Primary School in Rwimiyaga sector of Nyagatare district. The classrooms were built under the Tourism Revenue Sharing Scheme. Gatebe Primary School has 1,296 learners and is situated right at the border of Akagera National Park in the Eastern Province. The launch of the classrooms marked the beginning of activities leading up to the 12th annual Kwita Izina. Now, the Goria naming ceremony that will take place on September 2nd at the foot of the Volcano National Park in Musanze, of course, has been happening, has already started happening, but in form of such kind of events happening because now people are benefiting from the tourism, I should say. One thing that we have observed over the few years has been this landmark made by the Kwitizina, especially with the, I would say, the social benefits for people who are close to the parks. What does this come with, especially looking at this ceremony and how much it takes to have this whole tourism sector growing? And what does this mean for the people that live actually around these same parks? Chantal?
Well, the people who live around these parks are going to benefit a lot. Definitely, we shall see kids going to school or even other people who need the education. These people are bringing activities around people. They are employing them through building those classrooms and everything. So actually, Kwitizina was a good initiative. And we see more of this coming to the Rwandans. It's going to benefit them.
Stephen, would you say actually that this has been very helpful, especially these are the people who used to go hunting in the same forests, in the same national parks, but right now they are being, such kind of activities coming to them. Do you think actually such kind of a ceremony, such kind of an activity is creating impact in the society?
Yeah, most definitely it is because, it's a rural area and the dropout rates of children in rural areas are normally high. But when you put a school nearby there, well, these children are going to keep in school, and it's interesting. Okay, actually, one of the leaders said that it would be good if they had made it a 12-year basic school because, from primary school they could continue to.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Maybe it will come along the way. Who knows? We don't know how much they have planned for us, but we look forward to the Kwitizina ceremony this year. Now, Rwanda, to head the World Pharmaceutical Body, Israel Mpimbe Thursday made history when he became the first African to be elected president of the International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. The Rwandan national was elected during the 62nd IPSF World Congress held in Harare, Zimbabwe. The Congress is running under the theme Navigating a Changing Healthcare Landscape, Quest for Pharmaceutical. Bimpe told Sunday Times that the milestone was a result of his active participation in various global organizations and promised to engage the UN in their daily operations. Now, this is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's now Rwanda, on that. I don't know why I like talking about stories like this. I mean, it's Rwanda again up on the line, but also this is also the health sector. I would just want to start by asking, of course, Stephen, what clings in your head when you see a headline like this?
Well, from Israel Bimpe must be brilliant individual. It's a part of the Global Shapers. I think, Ivan, you know them well. And he's been a leader, in such a sector, pharmaceuticals, because that's his qualification.
Yes.
But I think, with the exposure and knowledge that he's bound to get at this, for leading this organization, I guess, if he comes back home, then there's something he will do to impact his
And
society.
it said that he has been a member. He was already serving, so they trusted him.
A vice president.
Yes,
first,
exactly.
yes.
So I would love to see what this school, maybe the rest of the pharmaceutical students or maybe the fraternity could benefit from such a move.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Of course, stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
And now moving on to the regional stories. Several people are feared dead in clashes in northern western Ethiopia between police and anti-government protesters amid a wave of unrest. On Friday, police arrested dozens of demonstrators during massive rallies in the capital, Addis Ababa. Now, the government has been facing protests from the two largest ethnic communities over alleged human rights abuses and other issues. Authorities have banned demonstrations and blocked social media. Now, despite the ban, people took to the streets in several parts of the country for a third consecutive day on Sunday. Quite a country that we know has been doing tremendously well on the continent of Africa in terms of its economic growth. Ethiopia has had such a tremendous, I think, era more than any other African country looking at the progress. But here we are on what most international critics or human rights observers normally say, that there is that conservativeness and that abuse of human rights and such kind of ways in terms of closure of social media, such kind of platforms where people are able to express their views. I mean, also the fact that people are not allowed to have the peaceful assembly. Could we see such kind of chaos keeping on in Ethiopia, where we see actually people's progress in terms of economics going high?
Well, according to this particular event, well, the government made those reforms to to extend the capital city to this Moria region a month ago, but it's now that they are, a year ago, but it's now that they have reacted. So, okay, according to analysts, this hasn't been the only cause of this situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's dissatisfaction with the government maybe being, I mean, there's one thing to note is there is no opposition in the parliament. It's one government. So maybe there's a growing dissatisfaction with
Among the citizens?
among the citizens. Yeah, and then these regions, Moria and then Amhara.
Yes,
There are two-
Amhara.
Amhara, sorry. They have a lot of people, I mean, a big chunk of the population. So,
Yes.
I mean, it looks like a unique situation according to me.
Chantal, ethnic groups here involved. I would love to know what is
Yes.
the situation right now. Does that mean that we have a little bit of a mess up in terms of ethnicity in Ethiopia?
Yes, we do, because there has been inequality among the ethnic groups.
Okay.
And here is the government not trying to even listen to them, so they rise up by protesting.
Yeah.
So we've seen the Amhara people rising up because their land has been taken by other people, so they want it back. So the Ethiopian government should really do something.
Okay.
All right, now the proprietor of the Gulf Eden Rock Hotel, one of the biggest hotels in Karongi district, was on Wednesday arrested by the police over evicting prostitution among his workers. The hotel is located on the shores of Lake Kivu in Gishura sector, Western Province. The 60-year-old hotelier is being held at the Gishura police station in Karongi, according to Theobald Kanamugire, the spokesperson of Rwanda National Police in the Western Province. Now, this is quite a sad story, actually.
It's weird.
It's a very weird story to talk about. How is it that something like this is happening? Putting all your workers up to
Well, I think this guy is
prostitution.
just looking for money in all ways.
Yes.
So he's pimping his workers to customers of the hotel.
So
The
apart
female-
from being a boss, he's
Yes.
also a pimp. What would you have to say about this, Stephen?
Well, there's been some reports from, maybe the people who suffered from,
Yes.
the girls who suffered from this abuse. They were giving accounts of being forced to give company to these male clients, some of whom are allegedly big people who you
Yes.
can't,
mention.
And then also, then those who refused, they would was unfairly dismissed without without explanation. And they were saying that they weren't given copies of their contracts. So it's really a disturbing situation. I mean, listening to all that detail. Yeah, well, love to see what maybe the police conclude, maybe what they find
As
really
investigations
on the
still
ground.
go on.
Of course, this is quite a sad story in the western province of course, Karongi. But as we continue to talk about this, I just want to hear your view on something like this. You see, prostitution is such, a case here right now at a time like this. But I just want to hear, your conclusion as we wrap up this topic.
I would love to categorize this same story in what the Rwandan government has actually opted their game to fight, which is also part human trafficking, prostitution, and all these other immoral activities. But most importantly, we also need actually, maybe this could be an example of what it could be happening. I don't know if we do have investigative journalism to do a little bit more stories about this, but I think in one way or the other, these kind of activities are actually happening, and this man is just an example of what actually goes on in hotels. But I won't say that I have true sources, but I think there is more to dig up, and a lot more needs to be done in tracking down prostitution and human trafficking. Yeah. Now, moving on to the other story, we're back to Turkey, where, of course, after reportedly now in a few weeks back because of the coup d'etat, now it had to be the Turkish president Recep Tayyip Erdogan telling a huge rally in Istanbul that he would approve the return of the death penalty if it was backed by parliament and the public. He was speaking to hundreds of thousands of flag-waving supporters who had gathered in Turkey's biggest city. Now, the rally followed last month's failed coup, of course. Now, Mr. Erdogan also said that the state would be cleansed of all supporters of the US-based cleric Fethullah Gulen. Of course, already the Turkish government wants this gentleman in the country because they say he's the one that has been inciting the attempt for the coup. But most important, I think, if you're able to look at the international coverage, there are millions and millions of people that came out to support Erdogan, something that people never expected.
Exactly,
and in a speech, he had to say that, well, if the death penalty needs to come back, if the parliament says, bring it back. I think we had this same discussion a few weeks ago.
Maybe what I would ask you would be if this penalty was reinstated, who would it target?
Most people, of course, they say, because what people did in not only the opposition, let's talk about people who were involved in the coup. They call it treason. So the biggest punishment should be the death penalty. That's what he's advocating for, because they betray the country, they are betraying the trust of the government, they're against the government, so they deserve nothing other than death. So that's what is Erdogan's argument talking about.
5,000 people here.
Yes, we're talking about thousands and thousands of people in prison. Actually, a week ago, I think he was at least pardoning some of them, but a lot are still in jail, and they could face this if the parliament is going to approve.
It's so surprising that he has very many supporters who want the death penalty back.
Yeah, so we could see this.
It's very, I don't even know what to say about this.
We could see this penalty being approved again by the parliament and the public if they're in support of that.
Yeah,
so
what do you think about the death penalty?
No, I don't know.
Generally.
Generally, I don't think it's a good idea. I think prison, as it is already like a bad punishment for someone, not being able to see your family, not being able to live your normal life. But also, death penalty, unless, it depends on the case. That's just
I believe someone can be punished, but cannot, you shouldn't take away someone's life.
No one has the right to judge life, and have somebody killed. That's just fine.
That's Faith's opinion there. You heard it all. But those were the stories. Make sure you go onto our YouTube page to catch more of these stories. We'll be back shortly with the story of the day. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda's story of the day. Now, South Sudanese government has agreed to let in a new international protection force to try save a peace deal. Now, ethnic clashes last month left at least 300 people dead and threatened to revive a civil war that has killed tens of thousands. A 12,000-strong UN mission in South Sudan was unable to prevent the attacks. The announcement was made by the East African regional body IGAD and confirmed by South Sudan Cabinet Minister Dr. Martin Elia Lumoro. President Salva Kiir had previously dismissed the idea of additional force, and now the new proposal for a new unit in South Sudan was backed even by the African Union and discussed in a meeting in Ethiopia during the IGAD. The intergovernment, but much of the details of this same army haven't been displayed yet. But here we are. 300 people dead. We have a 12,000 army group of the United Nations failing to protect the peace deal. Now that they're sending in more army, what is the state of the nation right now? Somebody explain that to me.
Like you always say, it's a state of quagmire, I would say, in Sudan.
Yes.
And it breaks my heart
Why
so
do you
much
say
to
that?
see.
Because you feel like there won't be any kind of importance of this same army?
Well, they have signed
protocol?
peace deals before, which deals have failed to work.
Yeah.
Troops have been deployed to South Sudan, and they haven't been able to stop the war or anything. So I'm wondering, what have these people come with? Is there any difference they are going to make? But with this other deal going to be signed from the meeting that they held in Ethiopia, I hope and pray that things go through for South Sudan.
I mean, look at it in this way. Stephen, first of all, do we even have a peace deal? Because the peace deal was initially Vice President Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. Right now we have a new Vice President. Do we even have a peace deal to protect?
The peace deal is there. It's in existence, but whether it is being honored, I mean,
That's the question.
That's the question.
Okay.
But there have been developments of Riek Machar being planning to come back. I mean, agreement negotiations on whether he should come back. Even the person who replaced him is Deng, where he's also been said it's willing to let go of the power.
Yeah.
But that's something that is in place and waiting to see what comes of it.
Yeah.
But as for the force coming in, the fact that he accepted the force to come in, that's a plus, and more things are likely to
now,
come.
please, I want you to give me your own point of view on this one. Museveni has had, I would say, in the region, the biggest impact in terms of stabilizing South Sudan. At one point, sending in the UPDF, which is the Ugandan Defense Force. I would love to know, has Museveni's way of doing things been better than actually sending in more troops and more, of course, more troops, more money, more equipment, and even more chaos, I would say?
Well, you wouldn't say that, honestly. I feel like would be... But I think Museveni has done all he can to make sure that Sudan
Has he done it better than what we have seen the UN and all the other army forces?
Well, if you're comparing Museveni to the UN,
that's just like comparing, to different...
I'm not
things.
comparing
them.
I'm not comparing them. I would love to look at it. Yes, the UN can do something, which I would not also... Not forgetting what I'm trying to say. Does he understand the conflict better? Because maybe this could be the Rwandan story also. The UN was here, but the RPF did the story better, right? They understood the situation, came and stabilized the nation. So I don't think... Well, you could have the equipment, but you don't understand the conflict.
Yes.
So could Museveni be doing better?
I think so. Actually, I think Museveni has his own bit of, his strong points, because you see different Sudanese fleeing into his country. I would believe that, he would have more of the information because he's an immediate neighbor, But that's just according to me. You can never know exactly what details, but I believe it's for the best, of course, of Sudan.
I would love to put you on this same spot. Do you think actually we might see something happening in terms of keeping the peace deal and also solving the conflict right now that even Riek Machar is not in the country?
Well, when it comes to maybe the UN forces coming in now, we know how that has always gone.
Yeah.
But I think what can really change situations for the better is the leaders in the surrounding countries negotiating with the Salva Kiir and then his people, and maybe we can see a deal brokered, because from what we've seen, it's these are people he listens to.
Yeah.
I remember talking about Museveni was instrumental in the formation of the South Sudan. I mean, he had this relationship with John Garang,
yes.
And so the leaders.
All right. Of course, this is a very wide topic we can talk about, especially looking at now the fact that more troops are coming into South Sudan. Let us know what you think. Go on to our Twitter handle at Rise and Shine RW. Let us know what you think on this same issue. You're watching Rise and Shine, Rwanda Story of the Day. Shantaro Wera will be up next with business.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with RwandAir and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back. Time now for your business stories with me, Chantal Uwera. Local lender BPR minority shareholder Rabobank has formed a partnership with the Dutch Development Bank FMO and Norwegian Development Body No Fund. Sanjeev Anand, the BPR managing director, said the new partnership reaffirms the firm's long-term commitment to the local financial sector and supporting Africa's future development efforts. Entrepreneurs have been challenged to take advantage of the expanded list of goods that can be exported to US under the African Growth and Opportunity Act scheme to enhance Rwanda's export volumes and revenue. Francois Kanimba, the Minister of Trade and Industry, said the development should act as an incentive for producers, particularly small and medium enterprises, to increase production to benefit fully from the AGOA arrangement. And in the region, Kenya and Uganda will have to pay higher transport costs than first estimated to move crude oil to the coastline. This has been caused by the building of separate pipelines to facilitate export by the two countries. Analysts from KPMG say the return on investment of the pipeline from northern western Kenya to Lamu Port in Kenyan coast and the one from Hoima in the Albertine Basin in the western Uganda to Tanzania's Tanga Port is expected to drop by 10% from 13%. And that's all we had for you in business today. Kalimba Stephen will be up next with sports.
Welcome back. Time now for your sports news with me, Stephen Kalimba. Starting with cycling, Adrian Newey shot his bid to make history at the 2016 Rio Olympics cycling road race ended prematurely after he failed to finish the 206 36-kilometer competition, which was won by Belgian Greg van Avermaet on Saturday evening. The 29-year-old Niyonshuti, who was Rwanda's flag bearer at the opening ceremony on Friday night, was involved in an accident in the first 60 kilometers, hence bowing out of the highly competitive race. And in soccer, Bugesera FC have added 4 new players as they continue their rebuilding process ahead of the 2016-2017 campaign, which starts next month. The Eastern Province-based side recently appointed former APR and Amovobi assistant coach Vincent Mashami as the new head coach on a 1-year contract until the end of the season. The latest signings were confirmed by the club president Jean-Claude Gahigi, and they include forwards Beretra Iradukunda, Bienvenue Mjenzi, left-back Mwemere Njirinshuti, and veteran centre-back Aimable Mambo Ruchogoza from Gichumbi FC. And in the Premier League, Chelsea are set to offer Asmi Begovic and Loic Reme in a bid to snap up striker Romelu Lukaku. The Blues have already had a 65 million offer turned down, but Chelsea coach Antonio Conte hopes by including the 2 players as a part of the mega deal will persuade Everton to sell their prized asset. The Bosnian goalkeeper is behind Thibaut Courtois in the squad selection and wants first-team football. And Everton are in the market for a number 1 to replace Tim Howard, as well as striker Remy. And in today's sports chat, we look at Rwanda's athletes at the Rio 2016 and their performance. Well, Ivan, well, so far we've had RIO&its who didn't make it in his race after crashing early. And we had the swimmer Joanna Umurungi. She didn't make it out of her heat. She was 44th out of 45. She's ranked 44th now. Some ranking at least.
Looks like we're not aiming for gold very soon, but hopefully, of course, a lot of expectations were looking up for Adrie because I think he's been having a very good track record.
Yeah, he was also in the mountain bike race in London 2012, and he was the first African and Rwandan to complete that race. But yeah, there was a lot of expectation.
Pretty much. Of course, I was also expecting, okay, I didn't expect that much from the swimming part because let's say it's the first time we have her there, and it's not good. Well, I would say it's the exposure for the swimming part of it.
It's not a sport that Rwanda is.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But more important, I think the cycling part, a lot of people were expecting. Unfortunately, it happened that he had an inconvenience and he never had to finish up. But hopefully, in the coming days, we'll see Rwandans performing better.
Well, in swimming, there is also Elwa. He's in the 50 meters breaststroke.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's maybe he's another chance for Rwanda, our chance, because well, it's important to note that these athletes, most of them have been training abroad.
Yeah.
And well, it has served to show that if you give the athletes some good training opportunity, they can shape up. Because we see like the Salome Nyirarukundos, the Claudette Mukasakindi, who also have their races coming up. They've been to perform well against African competition. So I don't know.
Well, looking at it, of course, it's the Olympics. At least we need them to perform at least for 4 years in practice. Unfortunately, it's not always quite the situation. But I think for quite some reason, if you look at the growth scale in terms of training for most of the Rwandan athletes and different Olympians, you've seen that at least somehow, somewhere, there's been a lot of improvement, especially in terms of also preparation. And that's why we've been also to see the rise in numbers. And at least this time, not attending as but as qualified people, not as
qualified.
visitors.
It's also good to note that they've been participating well in major races.
Absolutely. So I think let's wait and see what happens. As for now, I think a lot is still happening in Rio. So let's see and see where like Team Rwanda takes it.
Sure. In cycling, we still have Nathan Vikusenge.
Absolutely.
In mountain biking. Well, I think you've followed this gentleman, and he's been a sensation in the cycling cup, that national cycling cup that is going around, and then the Tour de Rwanda also. Well, maybe let's go to the international now.
Now-
Maybe what has stood out for you in this
yeah.
year's Olympics?
First of all, I think over the weekend I was watching some of the key highlights, and of course some of them, I still feel like even the Olympics are still getting the negative.
Where we should be warming up.
Yeah, we
more
should.
action.
Yeah, more action. But of course, a lot of things were happening, which included the fact that also Rio was hit by very heavy. I mean, very the stormy stormy winds, and which has not been expected yet. But most important, I think the games, pretty much most countries have started getting their gold medals.
Yeah, sure.
Quite very interesting for the USA to get a medal from a 19-year-old and their first medal. And
let's
as we
look
speak,
at
yes.
tennis too, where we had some big shots in the men's. Djokovic was eliminated, and then we have the Williams sisters.
The Williams going out.
It's really interesting.
Quite a disappointment for now, I think.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like at this moment, of course, a lot is still happening.
Yeah.
Okay, the Williams have been able to get their first disappointment, but I still think they'll do good in the singles.
But Venus was so eliminated, but Serena is still there, and she's always been a sensation for maybe.
Absolutely, let's wait and see,
Sure.
and of course, let's aim for more gold, and maybe for Team Rwanda too. You never know.
Yeah, we still have some hope.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we had in for our sports chat today, and Peace Quizera will be up next with sports.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwandair and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. It's time for Lifestyle with me, Peace Quizera. Today in Lifestyle, we'll be, of course, bringing you tips on continuing to eat healthy and stay healthy. Here at Rise and Shine, it's Motivation Monday. And, of course, we'll be bringing you a variety of tips on eating. And today I'm going to introduce the rest of the team to come, help me share with this, of course, to bring this to you. But, of course, it's step number one is usually what's from the research that I think I compiled, is that you have to eat a variety of foods, meaning you have to select from all kind of food values. So I just want to hear what you guys would say. And of course, second step is the diet. So Chantal, starting off with you, what would you have to say about the two first steps?
Well, number one, people should note that being on a diet or eating healthy does not mean eliminating most of the things. This usually happens with people who want to lose weight. So you have to eat. Maybe you can control the quantities, but have all the nutrients in whatever you're eating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Now, of course, we also understand that you have to keep food, especially carbohydrates, usually out. Like less of carbohydrates and more of, the vitamins and proteins and a little bit of that. But also enjoy plenty of fruits, and vegetables, which is quite interesting. Usually our parents are always encouraging us to eat our fruits and vegetables. I would want to ask Stephen, because he looks like a person who is always forced to, of course, eat his vegetables. What would you say about this?
Well, vegetables have a different type of nutrients, and it's okay. Maybe it's interesting to develop that culture of eating. Also being curious. When you come here to Rwanda, we have French beans. French beans are nutritious.
Yes.
But maybe a person I've needed a lot of convincing to try them out. But I know what I'm missing out. And then we talked about fruits. Fruits they can be a bit expensive. Staying in Kigali and no trees around. And but I guess the education also helps. It's good to have some information
on this.
On what to eat.
Now, moving on, of course, to the next step is maintain a healthy body weight, and feel good about it. That means you know, whether you like it or not, we have to, you know, do a little bit of running.
Yes.
Oh God, he has to smile about it because he's been working out. But of course, you know, we have to, once in a while at least, you know, on a Saturday morning, you wake up and maybe get your sports shoes on, and then we do the run.
That way you cannot even jog or like run.
You can
walk.
power
You
walk.
can do long
Yes,
walks.
Yes, power walk. Now, of course, also this was my very, very favorite one. It's eat moderate portions, which has, of course, killed me. I have failed to eat moderate. I always eat in plenty. I like my food. But of course, this is why we're bringing this to the show on Rise and Shine, so that, you know, even I can learn from it. And of course, the other thing is that even if you eat moderate portions, you have to kind of eat regularly, you know. So
and
if
balance
you eat
them.
Yes, and balance them. So in the morning, you can have like a little bit of a snack and maybe have a carrot in the middle there, and then maybe
it's
have...
hard though, you
it's
know,
hard.
with the lifestyles and everything.
I know, especially, you know, with quite a busy schedule with
busy
us,
and,
you know,
Yes.
for breakfast here, and then you have the rest of the days to kind of just go and research and just eat. Now, of course, drink. The very seventh, of course, the seventh step is drink plenty of fluids, which is water, of course, drinks, which is like juice. I don't know about milk. But I think
Milk isn't bad when it's
not
taken
bad.
in the right portions. Yeah, everything is actually useful. But the thing is, you have to take them in the right portions.
Well, there is a lot maybe we consume because of our work lifestyle. We consume a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
I mean coffee
Yes.
and then Coke. Maybe that's also, we also need to take a lot of water to balance.
To kind of balance that out. Because as we wrap up, is the fact that Rise and Shine here, of course, cares about is that we start together, we start now and make these changes gradually. And remember, it is all about balance. That is all we had for you today in Lifestyle, but don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what you're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW, like us on our Facebook page, and do send us your ideas for the program. Check us out on our Instagram page where you can follow us, and of course endeavor to send us your different pictures. We'll have to see those. Also go ahead and check out our YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and the reports that we do. Also endeavor to go ahead and check out our website where you can go find every single thing that we do here at Rise and Shine. And lastly, go ahead and follow us on Snapchat. I am Peace Kwizera.
And I'm Ivan Magwene. We'll be at same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then, but for now, it's goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.